voices in hyperspace, where friends get together, rewatch, and discuss the hit 90s soap opera Babylon 5. Let's get started.
I'm Legendary Black Lion.
I'm Captain Mel Asylum.
Hey y'all, this is Sunday.
And today we're taking a look at episode 9 of season 3. We're almost at the halfway point and it is getting juicy. This is Point of No Return. That's actually the name of the whole season too. Like they've been doing that. They'll sneak the actual name of the season across as one of the episodes, and it does make sense because I don't know, when Ivanova says in the intro, like, hey, Babylon 5 was our last best hope and it failed, it's like yeah. And the thing that they failed at was maintaining peace. It was the Narn Centauri war that ended up destabilizing the whole galactic situation. So it's just crazy to think about. And so we are opening up this episode with Veer and Londo having a back and forth. Veer is back from his job on Minbar. It's like it's like he works at Pizza Hut. I don't know. He's back from his job and he's going over reports, and Londo is telling him, like, this is unacceptable. Like, you got to change this. And Vera gets frustrated. He's like, why do I have to change everything? And Londo explains, like, you can't just tell the truth. You have to say it in a way that won't cause trouble for people at home. And Vera's just messed up and mad about it. He's like, why? It makes no sense. I thought we were supposed to give accurate information. This reminds me of like doublespeak. If you've read 1984, is where the people in power have to sanitize words to make people not worry about things, and it's
Lie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's definitely a lie. It's the political spin on things. Yeah. And this is where we learned that Londo had arranged a visit with Lady Morella, and he's excited about this. He's like, I've been planning this for such a long time. I've called in all these favors, and finally she gets to come. And Veer doesn't know. He's just like, all right, whatever. Sheridan and Ivanova are having a conversation, and they get the news that Earth has declared martial law. They're talking with General O'Reilly, who updates them that President Clark has dissolved the Senate, and the senators are being arrested or fleeing. And I'm like, that is a heck of an escalation, right? And they got senators calling in favors with people, people in the military on the rush, and it's a chaotic situation. And they're asking her, like, what's up with General Haig? And O'Reilly is saying that Haig sent a message to Sheridan, and it's highlighting how crazy the situation is. Londo and Veer are navigating, lying to the Centauri. Sheridan is navigating whatever the heck is happening with Earth declaring martial law, and if he can even get in contact with his people that, like, it's supposed to be his support.
Yeah, I didn't like the conversation with Londo and Veer. It was very frustrating, the micromanaging of the message. Like, get Chat GPT and figure this shit out if you don't like how I'm doing it. And
I think Veer still has this connection to Londo, which is normal, I guess. Well, not guess, but it was normal in an abusive relationship, especially one where it's cordial, which is the scariest ones because it looks like everything's fine, but they're really just gaslighting you. But he's still going to him like, why are you even showing it to him? Just send it to him.
Right. Well, and that's what Londo did before. He took everything that Veer did and just like, nope, you're doing this wrong. And the relationship between Londo and Veer, it makes my skin crawl every time. Like, Veer is such a long-suffering character. And he's showing his frustration at this time, but he's always pushed back. But at this time, he's like, come on, Londo, why do you take everything that I do and ruin it? Like, what's wrong with you?
It's like that's what I thought before when he got the chance to go to Minbar. He gets to get away from that narcissistic personality and be with people um who are at least more honest. At least
Yeah,
on the surface, they're more off honest.
yeah, yeah,
Right, they got their shady stuff too, but in
yeah,
general, on the surface, interacting with him, their actual interactions with him are going to be more genuine and honest, and allow him to speak his mind.
yeah,
So, and so he gets to be more he gets to grow his confidence there. Whereas being under Londo, he just shoots him down no matter
yeah.
what he does.
And I have the feeling that Londo is looking at this from a paternalistic way. He thinks he's helping Veer. He thinks he's doing him a favor, and by shitting on everything he does and says, he does that throughout this episode too. Like, as much as Londo likes to confide in Veer, he likes to just treat him like I don't even know, like worse than a servant. And he thinks that it's gonna like toughen him up or whatever. I don't know.
Well, it reminds me of the parenting culture where if you're not giving them the harsh reality of the world, then they're going to go out there and get it. And so, like, parents think that they're preparing their child for the harsh reality of the world by being harsh instead of building their strengths. So right. He's strong enough to deal with the harsh reality of the world. Yeah. So he sees it as endearing, and both of them see it as endearing. But it's toxic.
It's extremely toxic. So moving on to the next part, we get to see that Sheridan and Ivanova are updating CNC about the martial law situation. Other colonies have been ordered to follow through with the order, but Babylon 5 hasn't been contacted yet. But they're like, it's a-coming. It is going to come. And that the command staff should just do things as normal. He does put a squadron in space on guard at all times. What happens after that little speech or that update, Lieutenant Corwin, our friend Lieutenant Corwin, the tall, statuesque gentleman that's on the CNC deck all the time with Ivanova, watching his back, he asks a question, and just hearing him ask the question breaks my heart. He's like, what did we do wrong? And it's like, your parents aren't being divorced right now, kid. It's okay.
Well, I mean, the military is his family. And the head of the family just decided that, I don't know.
The fact that you have to ask, like, hello, are you not paying attention? Are you not in the forefront of the shit that is going on? If, like, from a shop owner, I got you. I can see how you can be out of the loop. You got busy with your merchandise and didn't watch the news or whatever. But what the hell? How are you not understanding, one, that there are two very opposing sides to this? And was he one of the idiots with the patch on his arm?
Nope.
No,
he's an officer. He has nothing to do with that.
Okay, cool. So, at the very least, he's not making those dumb moves like Zach's ass. Even though I kind of had a feeling that, Zach was about to have a crossroads situation happen in this episode, because he originally got in with Night Watch for the money, and he ain't never really been with the shits, but he's just been kind of going along to get along. But he gonna have to make a decision now, boy.
Well, to go back to the analogy of the parents getting divorced, if he's like one of the children, it's very common for children to want to think that they're the reason why their parents are being divorced. And it does seem to be a pretty young character. I don't think he's that young, but no older than like 26, maybe. He's like, well, did we mess up? Why are they doing this? Because that was their job, to keep the universe from trying to fight each other, and now the universe is fighting each other. And we're supposed to keep peace for Earth from the other species, but now it's our own species doing it. Yeah, that's ourselves before we decided let's watch what everyone else is doing.
Right.
But yeah, I thought it made sense that he would feel like that anyone would feel like that.
I guess it kind of, if you look at how he was in the past, he always had like a few outstanding moments. He has like this kind of hopefulness. He was a junior lieutenant and now he's a full lieutenant, which I'm not gonna say he's dumb. He's not dumb. He's just a little naive. He needs some experience, and he's about to get some because
I like questioning nothing that I do. I'm not in power. I don't make decisions. I just follow orders, so I ain't did shit wrong.
yeah.
What they do wrong is the question. Right. How they fuck this up?
I guess from a kid's point of view, like they think mom and dad's job is to take care of me. So if they're now fighting, then they're fighting about taking care of me. Even though he should know more, technically, his job is about taking care of the planet. And everyone around his job is for taking care of the planet. And now the planet is fucked up.
Yeah, I think what you're pointing out is everyone has a job to do. And you kind of get into this zone of, you get into this mode of like, oh, I do my job and good things happen. And then one day you do your job and then there's all this bad stuff happening and you're like, I don't understand what I did wrong. And yeah, you didn't do anything wrong. It's just some people in other places are making decisions for you that don't involve you. And it's wild. So Sheridan ends up walking with Garibaldi, and he's giving him an update about there's a multi-system alert for General Haig, and basically homeboy is on the run. If anybody is not quite sure who General Haig is, the very first episode of this season is Sheridan talking to General Haig, who says, you need to go to Babylon 5 because I got a job for you. And that was at a point when Haig knew that there was some stuff happening and he needed to get ahead of it. And so he did that by sending Sheridan to Babylon 5. Later on, they have another episode with Haig and he's giving him some updates on things. And now we're in the thing that they were trying to stop. Garibaldi is saying like, well, what the deal is, Haig is trying to get support from other captains and some of the senators. And if they have enough, then they might be able to fight back. So without saying it, they realize that Haig is like a fugitive now. So we have the command staff is up in arms. What also happens is there's Night Watch. The Night Watch liaison, which I don't have a name for him here, but he's talking with Zach because they see the martial law order on TV. They're in security. And he's saying like, hey, check it out. There's a meeting tonight. And Zach is annoyed. He's like, what? Another meeting? Which, come on, Zach, you got to know what's happening, right?
He's about playing every time they have a meeting. Like last episode, they had 4 meetings that week. He's like, man, we just had so many meetings.
Yeah.
Right, because it's not in the ladies' room.
Like, why did she? He thought he was just going to be collecting his 50 credits a month.
Right.
Like, do stuff.
He's being asked to do more. And that's what they do. They start piling on responsibilities
and not piling on the credits. Right. Imagine that.
Yeah. So he gets told there's going to be a meeting, and he advises against sharing any of the information, especially with Garibaldi. Now that should have gave it away right there to me, but I've said it in the past. Zach is not the sharpest tool in the shed. And then the liaison tells him to bring extra caps, which okay. Extra caps for his PPG. So that's like extra ammo. That's definitely the red flag right there. Like, don't tell Garibaldi and bring your gun. Like, bring extra because we might need to shoot Garibaldi. That's what that means. But Zach is, he's having his moment. Speaking of Garibaldi, he goes to the brig and he grabs Jakar. Jakar, who is singing very badly. And Garibaldi is like, hey, your sentence is being commuted. You're free to go. And Jakar is like, well, why? I thought I was supposed to be here for another 3 weeks. And Garibaldi is like, look, we're in the martial law. You had a 60-day sentence. We're going to cut it short because we need all the security staff to be on, to be on point for this. So get on out of here, you crazy kid, and don't do those drugs no more. And Jakar is like, thank you. I may have something for you to help later. which Garibaldi has ignored Jakar all the way up to this episode. I guarantee you Garibaldi's like, why do you think you need to help me? Why do you think you can help me?
He think he got everything.
Right. So we get to see the arrival of Lady Morella. And I'm excited about this part because Miss Lady Morella is played by none other than Loaxana Troy herself, Majel Barrett. I was so excited when I was like, oh, that's who that is. And if you seeing her doesn't give it all the way, because when you see her, she's dressed like a Centauri. Her no hair, so she's bald. She has this thing like this lace. What is that? Lace
Something.
Yeah, around her head. But when you look her in the face, yeah, that's definitely Majel Barrett. She's not wearing her curly Loaxana hair. No. She's not wearing her super bright, crazy colors. But the voice is definitely her, which between hearing Loaxana, I also hear the voice of the computer.
It's a computer too, yeah.
Yeah. And
on the computer on the original series too.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. She played like a
nurse.
That's who it was. Yeah, she played a nurse. She was married to Gene Roddenberry. There's a whole thing about that. I looked up this episode. She was offered the part for the episode over a phone call, but she met J. Michael Straczynski in London, and she thought it would be a lot of fun. He caught her up on the series by showing her some episodes. She also talked to some of the other Star Trek alumni who had been on Babylon 5. Walter Koenig, who plays Bester, which I first of all, this dude, his attitude is like so amazing as an actor. But yeah, he was able to give her some advice about doing the show, and so she jumped in. My problem, or the thing that I noticed about her acting at the beginning, it just didn't seem like it was clicking, but then later on, like, the character makes a ton of sense, and she does a fantastic job.
Well, I think Mel, previous to the recording, made a great point about how the Centauri telepaths, they're just kind of dull.
Yeah.
Only purpose in life is to see what they can see. They don't get to have personalities and stuff. And then her speaking for her husband as well. Like, she doesn't get to have her own identity. She's just the wife of that dude who's a telepath.
Yeah. So she is the wife of the former emperor who died on Babylon 5.
So he was married to a psychic, and he had the 3-4 psychics that stayed with him all the time.
Talk about paranoid, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, living there, you gotta be.
Yeah. And so what her role is, she's a prophetess. This is what Londo explains. Like, everyone knows that the former emperor's consort was a prophetess. She speaks in plural because after the emperor dies, she follows this tradition that she speaks for the dead person. If any of y'all are following or have read the Ender series, Orson Scott Card, the speaker for the dead, I'm just throwing that out there. There's a joke for that somewhere. But there's also a frustrating thing in she has no agency. She had no agency when he was alive, and she has no agency when he's dead because she speaks for him. It's assumed that she speaks with his spirit. Mm-hmm. So the power of the emperor goes to the next emperor, and she just stuck with all of his shitty personality.
Whoa.
Yeah. So that's what she's upset about. I guess you could say this is an opportunity for us to learn a little bit more about the Centauri culture and how really awful it is. And, you know, if you didn't hate these people before, here's another reason why, like, the Centauri are often irredeemable.
It's about status, and
yeah,
you don't have a personality. You don't have an identity. You have a status.
Yep. And you just gotta play that part, no matter who you are.
There's no happiness in that or content.
No. The Exhibit A Londo. He absolutely hates his job. Well, and then Veer does too. Yeah. So what Londo and Veer are supposed to do is give Lady Morella a tour, and she's upset because she's like, "Where are the security people at?" And the way that they downplay this, the way Londo downplays this is so funny. He's like, "Oh, they've run into some trouble. Nothing important, just some local bullshit. We don't need to worry about that."
Changing Veer's information.
Yo.
It's like, just tell them what they want to hear. Don't tell them the truth.
Right.
Just lies again. Like, now you putting our life in danger. Just keep it a buck. Like, the shit is hitting the fan around here. So we gonna take this tour, but we gotta be careful about where we go or something. It's like, come on now. Right. I thought that at any moment she was going to figure out like his ulterior motive, and I don't know, maybe not give him what he wants. But no, all the Centauri are pretty much the same. She was totally cool with being lied to. She was okay when she found out why he really wanted her there, and just going along with it. I'm like, man, don't nobody suffer no consequences with those baldies.
So the next part, we see that Sheridan is checking in with General Smith. This is the guy that was on the screen that has his acting is very interesting, but there's a reason why. We'll talk about why later in the episode, but he's basically telling Sheridan, like, look, this this martial law order came from the top, and that the political office has decided to give off-world security responsibility exclusively to the Night Watch. And Sheridan is pissed off. Sheridan asks Smith, like, what's his opinion? He's like, my opinion has nothing to do with any of this, and neither does yours. You should respect the chain of command. And when they hear about the whole Night Watch being in control of off-world security, he's like, which one of you motherfuckers is the chief security? which one of you is chief security? And then Garibaldi's like, that's me, sir. It's like, yeah, you need to give all of your stuff over to Night Watch.
That was so messed up. And then I thought it was Jack, the way he dealt with what's her name? Abanaba. And it might not have been at this part, but when he had to like tell the station, the bad news or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, do you want me to be here to support you? No, I wish Delenn was here. I'm like, fuck you. I'm sorry.
No, well, he wishes Delenn was there. Romantically. Simultaneously, what's happening is Night Watch is having their meeting, and they having their briefing about they're getting the orders, the same orders, and Zach is like, well, does the captain know? It's like, yep, the captain does know because he's getting the exact same orders right now, and we need to be prepared just in case there's trouble. In the meantime, the president gave us the power, the authority, and means to weed out traitors so we can set things right. And that dude seemed way too excited to have that job. Like, he's one of those guys that's like, his whole dream was to be a cop just so he could bust people. You know what I mean? So that part, I was just like, man. And then Zach is just going along with it. No pushback whatsoever. I mean, I guess he was saying, like, does the captain have anything to say about this? That's a good question, but everybody is discounting that. They're like, no, man, don't listen to him. He's not in charge.
I think that he was really on edge about this happening, and I was getting the feeling that this whole time, Zach was just in it for the extra credits. And he's always kind of like questioned what Night Watch is doing. And now he's like really about to have to make a decision. Like, are you with these mofos or what?
His asking if the captain knew was his pushback.
I guess he's like trying to check without isolating or highlighting himself. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, with them, if you speak out of line, they're like a cult. If you speak out of line outside of what they think, they're gonna be on you. So he's gotta ask questions in the right way without making them suspicious. Yeah. Make them think that he's still on their side, even though he's questioning.
Yeah. So in the next part, we see Jakar returns back to his quarters, and there is our good old buddy Talon just waiting there. I understand the sentiment that the episode is trying to get across, but if somebody was just waiting at my house, I don't care. I'm like, are we fighting or what? Like, what's going on? What's going on? Like,
Way to sound familiar. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
oh, you know what? Check it out. Look it up and see who that is. See if we know who that is. Basically, Talon is telling Jakar, he's like, I've waited here for your return, which we knew this return was going to be after 6 weeks. So the homeboy would go to his house, wait there 3 or 4 days. On the 5th day, go to sleep, and then come back.
I mean, you could have visited me in jail. The hell? I could have used somebody to talk to.
Yeah, well, right, yeah, there's someone to serenade.
Was he trying to just watch his place in case somebody decided to get revenge? That's what I kind of felt like. Okay, I don't know, but let's do this.
Okay, cool. I mean, he's still walking around with that sword, and nobody is talking to him. No one's questioning him. Fine, whatever. But Jakar hints that Talon can help him with a very important decision that's coming up. In the meantime, security personnel is having a roll call in Night Watch. The ultimatum is this: security has to join Night Watch or leave. And there are some people in security, when they go up to the roll call, they are turning in their PPG and badge and they are walking out and they don't look happy at all. And our good friend Zach is sitting at the table handing out armbands. This is one of those things that makes me think of Nazi Germany, which I think this is what it's supposed to do. And Zach is just doing his job. He's going with the flow to not cause any trouble. He doesn't agree with it, but he's doing it just to kind of like see what's happening. And there are people who are just like, nah, we ain't for this. No.
So proud of them.
Right. And I think, I'm trying to remember, wasn't the response from the liaison like, now we know who the traitors are? That's so messed up.
Some of their point of view is kind of like, oh, we got new management now. But I think they've seen what the management has been doing.
Well, the last couple of episodes, we saw that some of the Night Watch and security folks are kind of for it. And it makes a lot of sense with the pro-human and anti-alien sentiment around Earth Force and Earth-centric humans. So, maybe the only job that they could get was security. I don't know.
I mean, maybe keeping their security job is the only thing keeping them from down below. And where else are they going to go if they need their job? Are they going to go back to Earth? And can they get back to Earth? There's no communication. Like, if I just turned in my badge and not work anymore, what does that mean for my security that I had as doing my job?
Yeah, no, that's straight up going down below. Because what's probably going to happen is, oh, you quit Night Watch because you object to this. We're locking you out of your apartment. We're confiscating your apartment.
Yeah, especially since they now see them as traitors.
Yeah.
And arresting traitors. So leaving my job also means getting arrested.
Right. Garibaldi gets wind of this and he is absolutely furious about it. He's like, nah, I spent 3 years putting these guys together. I'm not letting these Night Watch come in and mess everything up. And he is on his way down to security because he wants to protect his team. He doesn't want his guys to be taken in under Night Watch. And I was thinking, like, he's doing the exact thing that they told him not to do. and he's doing it in such a way that there's no tact to it. He, you know what I mean? He's angry, head full of steam, and he's gonna march right down to a room full of people that are armed.
I think as a cop, you would want to have some tact too.
No.
To this, but he's like, these are my boys. Like, they're my friends. I trust them. And all of a sudden, they're gonna go to the other side.
Zach, in the previous episode, you don't trust me.
He's like, I am your child's godfather. What is happening here?
Yeah. Yep. And he fixed up those people. Yeah. But we switch real quick to see Lady Morella is preparing for the tour of the station. And she's not happy with the current state of affairs. Where she's getting ready. Like, she's putting her headband thingy on. I don't know. But she explains, like, the alliance with Earth was never my husband's plan for our people. He tried to prevent this insanity. And this is where Londo explains, like, yeah, I was there when the Emperor passed. The Emperor didn't like you, bro. Like, what kind of a person is like, I'd rather die than talk to you? That's what that's what the Emperor did. And then didn't Londo lie about the Emperor's last words?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the Emperor didn't want to be imperialistic. He was like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
That's like his friend and his wife do it too. But they went and killed him so that they can be imperialistic.
Right. That's when River was like, I don't like the sound of that at all. We need to get rid of this guy. Yeah. And this is where Lady Morella says something that is extremely, like, a lot of the most profound things come from the Centauri. Here she says, we can't tolerate greatness in our midst. We do all we can to destroy it. And I was just like, wow. So she's also lamenting the state of the Centauri Empire.
I love how, like, the Centauri who understand that their culture is toxic have a true understanding as to why the culture is toxic, because they understand both sides.
Yeah.
They've lived in the toxicity and then saw what the reality should be. And so when they say it, it's not like when Delenn says it, because she's in her own little happy world. Like, this isn't right. And it sounds more naive. But when the Centauri say it, it's like, I actually understand.
Yeah. Because they live in that life and they're like, this really is not what this should be at all. But Londo even explained, like, we're in insane times. We just we have to see this to the end. And that's really sad. But that's Empire for you, though.
Like in the previous episode when what's Jakar's assistant's name? Londo was like, let's pull back. We don't have to be going so hard on the Nard. And it's like, no, we've got to break their souls and take everything from them. All gas, no brakes.
Right. Yeah. And yeah. The writing for these are really good. I like hearing it because it succinctly describes like what we are seeing in some of these things in real life. So this is where Londo reveals his true motive, and he asks Lady Morella for a psychic reading. Psychic. I don't mean to say it like that. He asked her for prophecy.
That's what it is.
Yeah. He paid all his money for a tarot card reading. Since he doesn't know if the path ahead of him is one for him to embrace or flee, he wants her to tell him. And she's like, all right, I'll tell you. And it's because she has foreseen Londo's path. And her revelation is very cryptic. We're going to let that hang in the air for a bit. Because what's happening right now, what's not very cryptic, is Garibaldi with a head full of steam is marching down the hall to security. Alan intercepts him and is like, hey, don't go in there causing a scene. Just put on the armband, nobody cause you any trouble. Garibaldi walks in there, cusses everybody out, throws a table. And he calls out different people. This is where we find out that he fixed somebody up with somebody. He's somebody's, what do you say, his god?
Yeah, I
God kiss?
heard
Oh, okay.
essentially is really involved in these people's lives. Like, we all hella close. And what are y'all like really doing right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's always talking about how his people are his family. Like, they're involved with each other literally personally.
Yeah, he's involved with these people. He spent 3 years bonding with them. But let me ask you a question. If your boss is comfortable with walking in with a head full of steam, yelling and throwing tables, was he that good of a boss?
I mean, I could hold it down to the floor, but sometimes I want to turn that motherfucker over.
With the dog still on him?
Me, the dog on it.
I feel like maybe your body's flipped a couple of tables before this episode.
It's not anything new for him to do that.
Because none of them budged. They didn't blink or nothing. They were just like, oh, there goes Garibaldi throwing tables and chairs again. No, but he's upset and he's like, he reminds us like, yo, you don't work for Night Watch. You work for the captain. You work for the station, and you work for me. And they're like, you either join Night Watch or you quit. Garibaldi is told that he is relieved of duty as chief of security, and Zach is immediately promoted. And Garibaldi's like, oh, this is what you wanted, Zach? All right, I'm going to catch you in these streets. That's what's going to happen. That he marches out the road. It'd be funny if he just like found one more thing to knock over on his way out.
I was more they gonna punch somebody. I'm like, he about to fight this room full of people.
Yeah. We switch back to Jakar and Talon. They're having their conversations, and this is where Jakar is talking about how he has changed in prison. He has had a moment of revelation. The kind of revelation he's had is transforms your mind, your soul, your flesh. And Talon is all like, look, I like how you're talking, but not every reply is an answer. Answer the question I asked you. What did you learn in prison? And this is where Jakar is like, I outline everything that I learned in this book with 3 easy payments of $9.99. You too can have a copy of the Book of Jakar. What it is, he talks about the philosophy that he has developed, which is you got to help the humans. Narn's fighting for ourselves. We lose ourselves. We need to sacrifice ourselves for others, for the others. You know, a sense of self-sacrifice. He's talking about like a radical self-sacrifice, but he's also talking about radical movement towards community, like a galactic community. And then he says humans are the key. And I thought that was really a very interesting thing for him to say. Now, me looking at this now versus me looking at this as a kid, I'm very happy for Jakar, but I'm also sad for Jakar because the person that he talked to that was in the spirit butterfly form was a Vorlon, and this is just him being manipulated by a Vorlon, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the Vorlon trying to manipulate him into the right thing. Like, is it a positive manipulation? Which sounds contradictory, but I mean, there are situations where you just gotta make people will come to the conclusion that you can't. Some people you just can't tell the answer straight up. You have to give them the tools to come up with it themselves.
I don't have a problem with positive manipulation. It's a thing.
I have issues with coercion. However, I do understand what's going on in the galaxy. And so, with the Jakar character, it's kind of interesting. He is taken from this kind of supervillain type of character, has all of his power stripped from him, placed in prison. So he loses all of his power and freedom, and then he meets God. And then he comes out and he's like, I have a brilliant idea. We're about to change the galaxy. And honestly, what he's proposing is kind of what the humans are gonna need. So the positivity on it may be right, but I also think like, man, if they had listened to Jakar from the beginning, things probably wouldn't need his bad. You know, they wouldn't need God to show up to talk to them. God is like, yeah, you gotta fight, but you know what? You'll fight. They should have listened to you. It's like, I know, right?
But like again with the whole like positive manipulation, what's his name? Cautious people, they see all the other races as children. And I know a thing about positive manipulation when it comes to children. Sometimes you gotta trick them into doing stuff. I've had to trick kids into going to the potty because they just refuse to go. Like, yeah, you do know that this is something you need to do, but in order to finally get them there, I had to trick them.
Yeah, it's like sometimes you just gotta, drop some breadcrumbs. Yeah. I don't know. I'm still against the coercion part of it, but we'll let it roll. We'll let it roll.
Yeah, because I am trying not to fight you on that, but manipulation isn't automatically coercion, though.
We will revisit this conversation at the end of the series.
Okay. You got some insight that I don't have. I say, okay, I roll with it.
No, this is just we'll just save this for later. This is just a bookmark. So the next part is the martial law order goes out over the loudspeaker because it finally came to Babylon 5. This is where Sheridan has to deliver it, and this scene is done so masterfully too, because he's being prepared. He has the order. He's like, I hate this. Ivanov is like, do you want me to be there with you? He's like, no. You know who I miss really a lot is Delin. I wish she was here. Which,
you could have kept that shit to yourself. You should have saw the look on Ivanova's face. Be like, I didn't ask you that shit. Like, hello? I'm trying to support you in the work that we have to do. We got martial law coming down, and she ain't here. And now I'm chopped liver. I've been riding or dying for you for a minute. And yeah, that was jacked up.
Yeah, he could have did it differently, but like, he's pissed. And if it was time to fight, you would want Ivanova by your side. But it's not time to fight yet. He needs to be peaceful, which means he needs Delin by his side to keep him calm.
Also,
but it's ready to raise arms. You gonna be calling Ivanova.
Also, let's just think about this 1 minute. When you're about to tell the station, we're all locked down, we're on martial law, who do you want to be by your side? Battle Axe Ivanova or someone like Delin who could like at least use some flowery language to make people feel good about it? Because remember when Ivanova was in charge of the station, had to drop the hammer and threatened to throw some ambassadors out the airlock?
They all fell in line, didn't they?
We've never seen those people again. She probably did throw them out the airlock.
No, they now want chilling. They don't want no smoke with her.
Ivanova's caused riots.
They need to know that somebody is going to try to keep them safe. You don't want to be between a rock and a hard place. And Night Watch is the hard place, and Ivanova is a rock.
Right, there you go.
We still need both of those things.
So you just damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because Ivanova is always right. We just need a slightly gentler touch than Ivanova right now.
Delin is meditating every 30 minutes.
Right. She is one with the universe. No, I'm sorry. So hold on, he's preparing for it. But it is in the Zocalo, Lady Morella is getting her tour, and just as she's walking by a bar, ISN is talking about how there's this battle between some ships. They are firing on General Haig's ships and the ships that are going with him. 4 out of 5 got disabled, but General Haig was able to escape. And the crowd out there is cheering General Haig on. They're like, hell yeah. And Night Watch, they're out there. They're like, nah, man, y'all get out of here. Y'all causing a riot. And you see a cop with the Night Watch band push a guy. And that dude is like, what the fuck? No. And he pushes him back. I thought that part was hilarious and great at the same time. Like, you don't just take this, right? No, I ain't taking this. And then you get the fight. The fight breaks out. And this isn't like a funny, bar fight. These people are throwing down. This looks honestly like, without saying how I know, I've seen riots in real life and the way the police behave. And yeah, that's how it looks. It looks just that stupid. While that's going on, Veer gets smashed up against the head, protecting Lady Morella, and they have to usher them all out of there. And it was crazy. So then you hear Captain Sheridan's declaration and of martial law on the station, and people are throwing down. It is so great because you see him trying to talk about keep orderly and all that stuff, and people are fucking shit up.
I think it was interesting that they were telling them that you're starting a riot when they were just like cheering for what they saw on the news. And like, no, cop, you're starting the riot.
Right. Which, again, seeing it in real life, police start the riots. Anyway, that's going on. They have to usher Lady Morella out real quick. We quickly switch over to Captain Sheridan. He's in his desk, and he's really mad. So Sheridan throws away his order, and this is when Dr. Franklin walks in all his glory, and they discuss the deal with Clark Oil Night Watch folks. They're surveilling the station, so you can't get help because there are eyes everywhere. And this is where Franklin brings up the subject of chain of command, and that's when Sheridan's like, wait a minute. The general has given me hints all of this time. I understand now. And so he goes back and he watches the video, and it says, obey the chain of command, follow the chain of command. And he's like, all right, okay.
Which is crazy because when it came to knowing like what we're going to eat for breakfast, he knew like the whole book of rules and shit frontwards and backward. But you don't know the difference between who's got the authority to call a martial law order, or who can put the Night Watch in your position or not.
Yes.
He made up the graphics thing.
Yeah.
It's just a joke.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was serious.
Nah. He was just messing with her. Well, that's like Michael. Yeah.
Yeah. That was, but you are right, because he knows the regulations so much so that he can like recite them, but then he can play around with people who aren't so knowledgeable, So Sheridan is like, Franklin, I need you to get everybody in here right away. So yeah. Jakar approaches Ivanova, is like, this part I thought was so hilarious because he walks in on CNC. Citizen Jakar, no powers, no position, just waltzes in on CNC, and everybody's like, oh, this is Jakar. Dude is looking around, looking extremely suspicious and uptight. And he's talking to Ivanova in a room full of people, talking about, shh. I think I can help you. It's so weird that we'll see what his whole thing is later. Veer gets his wounds treated. This is where Londo is still treating Veer like trash. Is like, oh, you getting your head patched up. Next thing you know, you'll be asking for more favors. And this is where Morella is literally tending to him herself. The consort of the former emperor is tending to the assistant of an ambassador. And Londo was really embarrassed about that. She brushes up against Londo, and she gets to see a little bit of his destiny, and she don't like it. Which, yeah, of course, that's why Londo is always has that like starstruck look in his face whenever he sees that stuff. So, I mean, what kind of a piece of shit are you when the whole galaxy is like all right, well, this is what's going to happen to you. And then you're surprised. I don't know. Zach comes to Sheridan's quarters, opens the door, and in his quarters he finds Ivanova, Garibaldi, Jakar, and Sheridan. And they're like, come in and close the door. And Zach looks like, I'm stuck.
18, yeah.
So then later we see that Zach returns down to security, and he's informing Night Watch that he was in a meeting with the boss, with the captain, and they're gonna replace all of Night Watch with Narn. And he was like, I don't like that. I just can't go along with it. And that's where the liaison's like, good job, Zach. You did the right thing. And this is where he gets all of Night Watch together. It's like, we're going to organize and head them off before they can get together. We're going to arrest these traitors.
I was so nervous about this part because Jakar was explaining how the Narn need to sacrifice themselves in order to help the humans. And I'm like, oh my goodness, are they about to, like, I don't know, some of them going to die in fighting the Night Watch?
I mean, we've seen enough Narn die on this show to this point.
It's talking about we got to die by the hundreds and thousands sometimes because we're all one, which I do believe with the universe. We're all together. So I fuck with the message hardcore, but like, damn, we about to take another L?
Right.
I see yourself doesn't have in depth that it could mean I thought he meant sacrificing, fighting for their freedoms by fighting for other people's freedoms, which diplomatically would make sense because that's what the other people do. That's what the Centauri were doing without it being a sacrifice. They were trying to be friends with other, they'd be friends with Earth so that they would have that alliance with them. So they can control them and not helping other people, especially the Nar. So if they stop, and not to mention them fighting the Narn, them fighting the Centauri automatically gets them killed. But if they fight Earth's battles for them, the Centauri can't do nothing. I mean, they could try. Obviously, they're going to try. They're going to get pissed off. But yeah, they end up getting the friend, and when Earth finishes whatever crap we doing, then they can be friends to help them fight instead of them trying to fight. They can't. I felt like it's like, no, we can't fight this battle. We need somebody else to fight the battle for us.
Huh.
That was a long explanation.
I felt like you're on the right track, especially when you said like we can fight other people's battles and like fighting for other people will help us. I think that's the message. Because remember, Jakar was introduced being extremely selfish. He was only trying to get leverage for the Narn, and that's it. And then he was just screwing everybody else over. And he came across as a villain, and now he's like reformed in that way. He's like, he has a holy mission, and it's coming across, yes, we will sacrifice ourselves, but the way we will do it is not going to result in us losing. We'll win. Anyway. So what Jakar does, he's talking with the other Narn, and he's telling them like, hey, I got a mission for y'all. What is that? He says, I've never asked you all for anything, but I'm asking you for something right now. Like, I'm calling in my favors.
I'm pretty sure we put up all the money and stuff that we own to get the supplies going. I mean, let's you forget that.
He said personally.
Yeah.
He's never asked for anything personally.
Yeah.
Got it.
So now we're in the action moments of the episode. All of the pieces are in place. This I thought was kind of funny. So Sheridan is just sitting in the dark with this really maniacal look on his face. And an alarm goes off, and it's like 2 a.m, 230 hours. So bro was just waiting for the alarm to go off. He didn't sleep, nothing. He just got up and got himself ready. Got his PBG and everything. Night Watch, on the other hand,
Ready for that first day of school.
right. Night Watch they are loading up. They are getting all their stuff together. They're like, we're about to go down to the docking bay. We're going to intercept the Narn. The command staff is heading down, and they are marching, looking like they are on a mission about to fuck some shit up. Zach is down with Night Watch, and they're like, good, again, you did the right thing, kid. And he's making sure that all of Night Watch are going into the docking bay. And while all of their backs are turned, the direction that they go, Zach goes, now. And then the giant bay door in front of him locks, and Zach takes off, starts running the opposite way. And he slides underneath the other door that's locked. And now all of Night Watch are trapped in one of the docking bays. Fantastic.
I thought it was gonna go. They tricked me. I thought they were using Zach's stupidity.
Like, we're going to tell him that this is going to be our plan and use him to create a trap.
You've activated my trap card. And so on the outside of the door, Zach takes off his armband and he throws it on the ground. And there's Garibaldi to meet him. He goes, you did the right thing, Zach. And Zach is like, everybody keeps saying that. I don't know what that means anymore. Just a little note there. That's I'm pretty sure people who tend to be impressionable will hear that a lot. If you do exactly what the authority wants you to do, you did the right thing, kid.
Everyone has their perspective of what the right thing is.
Yeah. Yep. Over the PA, Sheridan is talking about what is actually going on, and that all of Night Watch is under arrest for conspiracy and failure to obey the chain of command, which he is totally legally obligated to do. And he explains that, like, Night Watch is a part of the civilian branch, and the military has its own way of doing things, and one of those ways is you have to follow the chain of command. Yeah, you might have the ear of the office of president, but you have to go through the admirals and the generals and all of that shit to talk to me. So, y'all are getting kicked off of this station.
Bitch.
And, yeah, Night Watch, they are stuck. They're stuck like Chuck. Night Watch personnel has to wait for proper orders or turn in their arms and remain confined to quarters. Basically, they're all under house arrest. And Ivanova knows the risk of taking, going against a direct order from Clark. And Franklin is like, well, I don't know how Clark would do anything with the lack of security personnel. When we have the lack of security personnel. And this is where Jakar rolls in with a gang of Narns, and they are there to actually replace the security personnel. So that was kind of a part that they were telling the truth on. Like, yeah, we're replacing everybody with Narn. But they needed to now because all of them are, they were trying to basically cause a mutiny on the station. Mm-hmm. So yeah, replace all those guys. This is where Sheridan reveals, like, there is no Narn ship bringing in Narn. It's going to be the Narn on the station, the locals. Which that makes sense too, because they know the station. They've been hanging around it. So, which is crazy because there's been a ton of them as refugees from the war. So, yeah. So that's resolved. We switched over to Lady Morella and Londo. Lady Morella says she's gonna do the reading, and she says, "Look, this reading is confidential. If any word gets out, we will deny that this meeting even took place." So that means that the whole time that she's been there, no, it wasn't. And the reason why that's significant is because of her station in Centauri society. The fact that she's there boosts Londo. This is where she reveals that Londo had 3 chances to avoid his fate that he's seen in his visions. Now, he's already squandered 2 of them. He already fucked up twice. He has one last chance. And she says, you have one last chance to save the eye that does not see, to not kill the one who is already dead, or at the last, to submit to his fear, knowing it will destroy him. And that's the prophecy. And then she goes, oh yeah, by the way, you will be emperor. And Londo is all like, okay, yeah, that's pretty serious. That's pretty intense. I'm pretty happy about that. And then she looks over at Vera and goes, "So will you?" And both of them were like, "What?" And Vera busts out laughing. And as much as I like the character Vera, his laugh is the most annoying laugh ever. But he's like, "Oh, I thought you were joking." And she's like, "No, both of you are going to be emperor. One will be the emperor after the other one dies." And then she just walks away.
She's shown no personality this whole time, and all of a sudden he thinks that she's joking because he doesn't see it in himself to be emperor.
Right.
He doesn't see his own greatness, so he thinks somebody saying something great about him is a joke.
More like he doesn't have the station or the family or the connections for that to ever even be possible. Like, it's laughable that an assistant would rise to power.
I look at Vera and I think he's not as spiritual as the other Centauri, so he's not taking her prophecies at face value. He's just like, you just gotta be lying about this. But also remember, she's a former emperor consort, so who knows. So we've in that portion with the cryptic message and also some suspicion between the two. And so we wrap up the episode. Night Watch is turning in their links, their identity cards, their weapons, and their stupid little bands. Lady Morella is leaving on docking bay, and she shares a quiet moment with an armed security officer because she's like, "I know who you are and what you are and why you're here, and thank God it's you." And not those clowns with those armbands. Sheridan shows Jakar gratitude for mobilizing the Narn real quick, and Jakar asks to join the conspiracy alliance. He's like, "Look, I've known for a long time something is going up and y'all been keeping it away from me, but I know, and the smartest thing you would do is put me on your team. It's going to be good. You will not regret it." And this is where Sheridan is like, "Oh shoot, yeah, we need to actually include this guy." And it makes sense for him to be included even more now because he's basically like the head of the security team. So that's like really smart now. Because remember we kept saying like Garibaldi's ignoring him. So now there's a reason for him to join. And then we end with Londo and Veer having an awkward moment, not wanting to go to sleep around each other, not wanting to eat around each other.
And Veer being relieved from his chef duties. Let's go.
Right. Ivanova informs Sheridan that the Lin is coming back and relays that the ships that were with General Haig have been destroyed, with only General Haig's ship, the Alexander, remaining free. He's going to be jumping through hyperspace. And they're like, we really hope that he doesn't get caught. And with all of this turmoil going on, Babylon 5 is likely the next target to heighten the urgency, for heightened activity, which means Earth Force may be sending some ships their way.
They don't want no smoke with us.
I mean, it's a space station in one spot. It's inevitable, you know?
It does belong to Earth.
It belongs to Earth, but it's in quote-unquote neutral territory. And I finally looked at one of those Babylon 5's galaxy maps. Those are so hard to look at. But it makes sense because they're in the Epsilon Eridani star system. If you want to compare maps, you're not looking at the whole galaxy, but you're looking at like some star systems within the galaxy. It reminds me of Starfield, if you ever had a chance to play that. And it takes them a while to get from star to star, even in hyperspace, but they can do it in a few hours. Yeah. So that's our episode. We got to see the Night Watch arc finally wrap up. We got to see Jakar finally joining the Conspiracy of Light. Londo is facing his horrible, horrible destiny. Garibaldi and Zack reconcile, and while all that cool stuff is happening, Babylon 5 might be seized by Earth Force.
The excitement you told us it was on its way. But last episode did a really good job of leading us up to this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was very important to solidify everything that happened here outside of just getting that message martial law. Oh, the interpersonal stuff got carried very heavily in the midst of all of the political things. It was a good balance between the world building and the character development.
Yeah. I liked the inner turmoil of the humans. The conflict between Garibaldi and Zach. And previous episodes I'll talk bad about Zach and how dumb he is, but I mean, they had to make him that way for this story to work. He could not be smart. He couldn't really give a bunch of pushback because it would have ruined his position with Night Watch. So I understand it. And here's the thing, there are people that are like that. We're on the outside looking in. We're not 100% sure what most of us would say in that situation. I know what I would say. I wouldn't be a cop. So that's where I'm at. But there are some people who
fight you to the death. Like, yes, I do know what I would do. Police, the hell?
Yeah, I wouldn't be a cop.
But aside from even the Night Watch, I wouldn't have been a part of the security team, part of Babylon either. I'm not following y'all directions.
Right.
The old captain's ex who would excavate. So for some reason, I just like the idea of being an anthropologist in space. Well, I wanted to be an anthropologist when I was a kid too, so that's probably why I felt like I
okay.
have my little freighter and go around and explore and learn what I could.
Digging up the shadows and getting your soul taken by a spaceship.
Yeah, the best I could do is be in the hospital, like being a nurse or something. I would definitely be that lady who had the machine and she was giving her life force to help save people. Yes.
Yeah.
I'd be in the down below helping those people that way.
Yep.
For free.
The life, in the future, they still have kids. And since I got into education younger, I probably would have been on Earth teaching kids.
What would you do, babe?
I'd probably be some kind of trader. I'd probably be a Marzi in trading, but also being part of the resistance. So.
Oh, you would be the guy just going after Ivanova?
Marcus. Yeah. I totally look. If you gotta aim your aspirations high, you might as well aim for God, right? Yeah, get yourself a goddess or two. It'll
or two.
All right, so we're gonna get out of here. In future episodes going on from this point for the rest of the season, we're gonna continue to touch more on that authoritarian aspect. And there's something that happens in like 3 episodes that is gonna take us. It's gonna make us pause and have some discussion. So just be looking out for some deeper thoughts from the crew here. And that, with that said, I'm Legendary Black Lion here with Voices of Hyperspace. Thank you for joining us. You can follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Be sure to like, follow, and share, and join the discussion. I'm Legendary Black Lion. Follow me on Instagram, Blue Sky, and that's pretty much it.
The Mel Asylum, you can find me on my website, melsrebellion.com, and Blue Sky, and TikTok, and YouTube, and Facebook, and Instagram.
Yeah.
This is Sunday. You can find me at a poker table.
And we will see you out there.